So what are we going to build today? I consider myself a little bit of a CrossFit fan. I don't do CrossFit anymore, mind you, because I pulled my back years ago. So I had to stop because it's very intense. But when you join CrossFit, you pay a monthly fee and then you can sign up to classes. Now, this is a very nice use case for DCB because there are a lot of cross validations going on. So, for example, users have to be able to register and users can sign up for classes. And these sound very simple, but let's dive a little bit more in the requirements of each one as we explore. So the first one is user registration, right? And users can register with their name and email address. And so far, so simple. But then users can only sign up one time with their email address. And this is a problem where a lot of people have struggled in the past with Axon Framework 4. Because if you're building with aggregates, you can only have one aggregate identifier, which is usually your user ID, because you want that to be anonymous, but you want to validate on the email address. So you usually need two aggregates and a saga pattern here. It becomes very difficult. But with DCB, we will find a better solution. And then we have the session sign up. So users can sign up to a class. A class has a start and an end time and has a certain capacity. So sessions have a maximum capacity. Usually in my CrossFit box, this was about 10 to 12 people. Then users can only sign up once to the same class. Very simple, right? You can be 2 times in the same class. But then users can only sign up to one class at a time. So if I am part of a class between 6 and 7, then I cannot sign up for another class between 6 and 7. Because I cannot be in 2 places at once. So now we will need to do some cross-validation over the different sessions that are happening within our CrossFit gym, because we have multiple spaces. So I will give you a minute to think, and if you want, put in the chat how you would solve this in Axon Framework 4 or in another system. All right, so if you came up with something in your mind that looks like this, then this is, well, not far from truth if you use Axon Framework 4. So you have the saga in the middle to harmonize everything. You have the session aggregate and the user aggregate, and these need to be validated together. So the saga will actually do a lot of validation for you. And this becomes a very difficult model, because what if you were accepted to the class, and then the saga concludes that you were already part of another class at that time? Then it will need to do a compensation action. This is a very difficult pattern to maintain in real production code. And this is where some of my colleagues, Sarah Pellegrini, Allard, Milan Savic, they came up a few years ago. We were in Serbia. It was 3 years ago, I believe. Like, what if we just kill the aggregate? I think you've heard the term before. And yeah, that's just because why do this? Nobody wants to do this, right? And this is what made event sourcing very complex. So we can do it simpler. Instead of having aggregates, we make one stream of events. So if you take a look at the events in our CrossFit application, you would have something like session created between 6 and 7. Then a user registered, me, Mitchell, user ID 1, email mitch@axoniq.io. Then you have the user joined session, where I joined that session, Steven registered and also joined that session. Now, as you can see, this session ID is highlighted. This is what we call a tag. Tags are basically lookup keys. So if we want to build our model from these events later on, we will do a query to the event store for events matching on a certain tag. So the session created would have a session ID tag. The user registered would have a user ID tag and an email tag, because we want to do validation on the uniqueness of this email. Then we have the user ID and the session ID for the user joined, because if we want to start validating, if there are too many users in the session, then we need to get all user joined events for all user joined events with session tag 11. And how does this look? So we get a register user command at this time. So let's say that this timeline that you see up here is our timeline in our event store. If we now send the register user command, we start making our model. So we know, okay, name Mitchell, we don't validate on the uniqueness of that, so it's email we validate on. So what we do is we send the event store query. We want all user registered events with this email tag. And then the event store comes back with these events, and we build a model out of this. The outcome of this, of course, is that it fails. We already have an event with that email. We will see in a little bit how this works in code. Okay, so in this case, you have to imagine that on the bottom left here, you have the join session command. So the user ID 3, which is Mitchell, wants to join session ID 11. So now to build our complete model, we need to find all relevant events from this line of events. And so we will load all user register events with user ID 3 because we want to validate that that user is actually registered. We have the session created event with session ID 11 because we need to know the capacity of the event, and we need to be sure that the session actually exists, that it tries to join. And then we have the user joined session. So we want everybody that has joined session ID 11 to validate the maximum capacity. And we want to know all user joined sessions with user ID 3 to see if there are any overlapping sessions. And the result here is that, let's see, user ID 3 is not in the session, so he can join the session. This is a little bit about how DCB works. You find relevant events by the tags, you build a mental model of them, and then put your validation against.